Hello, everyone, and welcome back to these critiques, a series of critiques of a lot of people, which I've done. And today we'll be critiquing Sri Aurobindo. So he lived in Pondicherry, where I am now currently, where I was brought up. And Aurobindo is the word which you hear almost daily because they have the ashram here and they have that experimental international township called Auroville just outside Pondicherry. So it is very close to me. I've been hearing it for the past, let's say, 40 years. Okay, and I always wanted to do a critique of that, but it was not done by others. So I have to do it. And it happens to be today. It is God's will today to critique the ideas of Sri Aurobindo. So, who was he? He was a Bengali, he was a nationalist, he was a freedom fighter, he was a terrorist who was involved in a bombing plot and which failed, so nobody died in it, but he intended to blow up and kill people, but failing which he was arrested and he was in the Alipur prison. And Alipur prison, he wanted to live this life of violence and embrace spirituality and said he has had some spiritual experience. Okay, and due to this spiritual experience, he wanted to live a new life, and so after release from Alipur, he came to Pondicherry here, which was a French colony, and so the British did not have any jurisdiction in this area, and so he can live here quietly. So a lot of these freedom fighters, even the many of them came and took residence, temporarily or even permanently, like Sri Aurobindo did. He permanently lived out his life here, okay, under the French in Pondicherry as a free man, even though he was free man in the British India and was released from prison, but he did not want to stay there. And after coming here, he left politics and gave himself fully to pursue these spiritual things according to the Indian philosophical system. Okay, so he came up in this as a result and consequence of his spiritual pursuits. He developed a system called integral yoga, and his philosophy is called realistic Advaita. So I'm going to introduce this now, realistic Advaita and integral yoga, and after that I'll go into a quick comprehensive critique. Let's start with realistic yoga. Now you might have heard of Advaita Vedanta, the non-dualist philosophy that says there is only one reality, Brahman, or the infinite divine. Sri Aurobindo agreed with this in principle, but took it a step further. He called his philosophy realistic Advaita, and here's why. In traditional Advaita, the word Maya or illusion is used something, and it is something to transcend. But Aurobindo says, hold on, the world isn't an illusion, as I already critiqued, and very easily said that is the weakest philosophical system you can ever encounter, calling reality as illusion. And therefore, the same conclusions Sri Aurobindo also reached. He said, this is not illusion, this is real. And because it is manifestation of the divine. Okay, so his view is that this world itself is a real manifestation of the divine. Okay, so there is no need to gain the knowledge that, something is a deception or illusion. The multiplicity is illusion. The multiplicity is just the divine manifesting. In other words, instead of Maya or illusion, which characterizes classical Advaita, this is a non-classical Advaita of realistic Advaita. So for Aurobindo, creation is the divine playing out a cosmic drama. Okay, so it is all God playing. It's a game. It's a play. It's a cosmic drama. He called this process involution and evolution. So God comes down, becomes manifests himself into the multiplicity, and then ascends up and integrates himself into the unity. He is both transcendent as well as immanent, and the divine first involutes into matter, concealing its infinite nature. So there's some concealment in the play. Okay, like drama, you have these actors who are putting up so many character roles. So the divine, it is the divine which is manifesting. That's me, that is you, that is the screen, that is your computer, that is your mobile phone. Everything is the divine manifesting. Okay, it is not illusion, it is really divine manifesting. That's what he means. So that is the involution process. Now, through evolution, this consciousness in matter, life, mind, etc., gradually awakens from lifeless matter to life to mind and eventually to something far greater. Okay, we only know about matter, then there is life, lower life forms, and there is mind, which is us, your higher life form, and then something higher also Aurobindo posits. And that is evolution of God back to his original state. So the goal of evolution, now I talked about involution, coming down, manifesting or emanation as Aurobindo calls it. Now the goal of evolution, the supermind. Now he is going to introduce you to some new concepts, posit some new ideas, okay, according to his, which he came up with, okay. Now here is where it gets exciting, interesting. According to Aurobindo, human consciousness is not the end of evolution. Of course, if you accept evolution, it keeps going on and on. The only thing is you do not know what will happen next. And this stage of humanity as a higher being is not final, but transitional stage. The next step in the evolution of humanity is to reach the supermind stage, and all the humans will reach this stage, but not us, but some other humans born to this generation, some other generation will reach this stage. A state of consciousness where the divine fully manifests in life. That is the supermind state. It is like the ultimate harmony of spirit and matter, where all the dualities we experience, good and evil, finite and infinite, are resolved, whatever that means. Okay? So, how do we reach this goal? Because we are the now divine manifesting, and we have to do certain things to reach the next stage of evolution. And that process Aurobindo has discovered, and that is called integral yoga. So now let's talk about integral yoga. Unlike traditional yoga, which often focuses on one aspect, is jnana yoga and karma yoga, or Yogananda says, just yoga philosophy, just yoga practices like meditation, which will help you to, get more power, and then you will be released from this matter. And they are telling one way. Okay, that is the classical. That's why there are many schools of yoga philosophy. Yoga, okay, one of them is yoga philosophy. The other is jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, devotion, etc. And here, integral yoga is exactly integration of all these schools of yoga. Okay, you're going to use all of them. And Aurobindo believed that yoga isn't just about escaping the world or finding personal enlightenment. Okay, the main Christian critique is it is about going away and focusing on the self, and it is anti-community. It is, you have to break up a relationship. You have to become a sannyasi. You have to become a, you have to renounce everything, and then you have to embark on the path of enlightenment. And then you'll get some enlightenment in this birth, and then multiple births you may get delivered or liberated. Okay, that is the classical, all the yoga schools teach. But now in the modern times, all these guys, Aurobindo, Sadhguru, they say we can just get it done fast. Okay, it is a sort of a fast yoga. Okay, fast food, fast yoga. Okay, so Aurobindo believed that yoga, now he is community. So community was not very strong point for yoga always, but now they're emphasizing community, saying that otherwise this will be lost. Okay, the whole thing, yoga thing will be lost. So Aurobindo believed that yoga isn't just about escaping the world or finding personal enlightenment. Instead, it's about transforming life itself, with all of humanity, all of life form. That means integrating your body, mind, emotion, soul into one harmonious flow, aligned with the divine, whatever that means. So, for that, to reach this stage, all the humans must practice karma yoga or right actions, jnana yoga, obtain right knowledge, bhakti yoga, be devoted, the yoga of devotion to personal gods or Ishta Devata, a personal god of your choice. It could be anybody. You can even choose Jesus. Okay, that's where this becomes slightly democratic. Okay, Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means it's your wish. Your God, whoever you think is God. Okay, you can be devoted to that, and through that work of devotion, it's not classical Christianity of grace, but because you worship and experience that state of excitement high during worship, that is considered as a form of liberation or spiritual experience. Okay, where they work up through the drum beat and music, and they feel that excitement and rapturous experiences during these fast drum beats produced by all this music and devotion. That is a form of bhakti yoga, and the bhakti movement is what is prevailing in India at present. Bhakti yoga is the common form of yoga. They don't know it's yoga, it's still bhakti yoga they're practicing. This is polytheism. Okay, they can choose their gods, and they can do the devotion, and through devotion, work of devotion, they will attain liberation from the cycle of karma and rebirths. So he is going to integrate all these schools of yoga together. That's why it's integral yoga, and added his unique focus on spiritual evolution. The idea is to align every part of yourself, not just your spiritual, but also your physical and emotional, with higher consciousness, because these are not illusory, these are not the problems, these are also manifestations of the one divine consciousness. So, how does it work? So, there is something called the psychic being. This is a true inner self, and the part of you that's always connected to the divine. Okay, by aligning the mind and the body to the psychic being and awakening the kundalini, you can you can go up, rise to the higher levels of consciousness in the psychic being through the multiple chakras. From the lowest kundalini chakra, you can reach the heart chakra in the middle, and then you can go to the crown chakra, and there you will find the enlightenment or union with the divine. That's how it works, integral yoga. So why does it matter? So for Aurobindo, it is not just about personal transformation, it is about transforming the whole world, to the taking it to the next level of consciousness or super mind. But that is also not the end. From there, you are going to go into the universal consciousness itself. But this will keep happening. Okay, there is no end to this. It's the eternal process. So God is in a constant state of play or lila. This is all divine play, cosmic drama, gaming. Okay, so to sum it up, Sri Aurobindo's realistic Advaita teaches that the world is not something to escape, it is something to be transformed. And integral yoga gives you the tools, techniques to align your life with the higher purpose and the higher being, who is the universal consciousness, by aligning the body and mind with the true self, which is the psychic being, awakening the Kundalini and rising to the higher levels of consciousness. So, now we'll move on to the critique. 15 minutes already over. So thank you for waiting this gap. Okay, so let's continue. So let us start with faulty assumptions of realistic Advaita. The idea of divine consciousness descending into matter lacks empirical evidence. There's no evidence for these are just assertions or ideas of Aurobindo. Nor is it a coherent framework that explains the mechanism of this process, nor is there is no explanation of how this happens either. The assumption of a hidden divine consciousness in matter is speculative. The second problem or faulty assumption is the problem of infinite and finite unifying. Aurobindo's claim that the infinite divine manifests as the finite being contradicts basic principles of logical consistency. It's a logical paradox. How can infinite, unchanging consciousness simultaneously be subject to evolutionary change? How can unchanging consciousness, which has descended into matter, in that process it has changed, it's a contradiction. Again, it has to evolve. How can it evolve and involute and evolve? How can it involute and evolve? These are changes which cannot happen with the unchanging consciousness. So the third faulty assumption is incoherence in supermind concept. Then he is introducing the next stage of evolution of humans, which is supermind. And he says it's the bridge between the infinite and the finite. Okay, so, and it's also an abstract construct which he is positing without any explanatory power, without any evidence, and the lack of correspondence to reality. Okay, there is no, it is just one of his theoretical constant because he's predicting the future now, and there's no way you can do that unless you are extending the theory of evolution in accordance with whatever you think. Okay, next stage will be a super mind, and then you will go and that will join into God. So all those are his ideas without any basis, without any empirical evidence, and it's an idea about a future state of being. So nobody knows and nobody has reached that state. Okay, so these are what are called hypotheses. So this will be the supermind hypothesis. So logical, now there's a faulty assumptions. So next we're going to move into logical and epistemological flaws in integral yoga. integral yoga as a catch-all philosophy. It's a logical fallacy that all these different paths, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, you know, jnana yoga, can seamlessly merge, that it can be brought together. And this cannot be done, and this ignores their foundational differences, okay, based on epistemology and other metaphysical differences. So this is a logical fallacy of bringing together contradictory paths. Epistemological problems in spiritual evolution, the cognitive bias, and which is confirmation bias. Okay, he is just claiming that consciousness evolves through matter, life, mind, and supermind, which is not supported by any evidence. Okay, even if you imply the theory of evolution, the missing links are still missing. That matter became life. There is no evidence that life evolved from we came from lower life forms. There is no evidence. The missing link is still missing. And that all these are connected, that we are that product of matter evolving into life, into mind. Okay, so this is a cognitive bias based on confirmation bias. He already believes it, and reliance on spiritual experience says this is based on my spiritual experience, but there is no real proof for this. Okay, so that is another word. This is a thing which nobody can know. Spiritual evolution. That's the epistemological problem. Next is unverifiable nature of supramental transformation. So the goal of transforming material into divine lacks criteria for falsifiability and practical validation. There is no measurable outcome from integral yoga. You cannot measure, you cannot do these things and dose this yoga, integral yoga, so that you will get the required results. Okay, this is not scientific at all, because there is no measurable outcomes, nor is there measurable effort, okay, and to substantiate these claims. So these are unverifiable in nature, unknowable, and even if you assume them, they are unverifiable. Number 3, correspondence to reality. As I said, Hindu philosophy's greatest weakness is correspondence to reality. You cannot see anything, it has anything to do with reality, even though they're talking about reality. Okay, so number 1 is non-correspondence of involution and evolution. The evolutionary model Aurobindo describes does not align with scientific accounts of biological and cosmic evolution. This is the faulty extrapolation, misinterprets Darwinian evolution as having a teleological spiritual endpoint. This is the first non-correspondence. This is something new he is telling based on evolution. Okay, this is not the same as the theory of evolution. It's based on that, and this is the spiritual theory of evolution. Okay, as I said before, that is this. This is the Hindu way of thinking. If something new comes out, they will say this is that. Okay, this is okay. Evolution is Hinduism. Quantum, that is Hinduism. Okay, so whatever comes up will be Hinduism. So that is the way. So now, then it was evolution. So he is adopting it and trying to give use it as an explanatory model. But it's faulty extrapolation, therefore it's error. Discrepancy between practice and claims. Claims of achieving divine transformation through this integral yoga. Is there any verifiable case studies or even historical precedents? No. Absence of evidence for individuals or societies realizing Aurobindo's vision. Now it's almost 100 years, there is no evidence for that. the problem of suffering and evil. Now is very important. Okay, so according to Aurobindo, all this, everything, good, evil, treating you well, abusing you, it's all divine cosmic play, and it is all amoral. Okay, and uh, and this fails to provide a satisfactory resolution to the problem of evil, and it does not have any explanatory power. This is straight Hindu philosophy. Okay, Leela. If you ask the Hindu, no, why is Krishna is behaving wickedly in the garden with those cow-herding girls, having multiple, you know, sexual plays with them in the open, in the Vrindavan garden, along the rivers. So how is it possible? Then they will say it is all Leela. That's the only word they say. It's a cosmic play. There's nothing. It's all God coming. That is also God. Krishna is also God, though they are also God. Everything is God manifesting. Okay, everything is divine play. Okay, that is their answer. It doesn't explain anything, and it does not explain, especially ethical issues like evil, abuse. You can do anything until it's cosmic. Whatever happens is cosmic drama. It is not, you need not explain anything. Okay, you have to accept. If you accept, everything that happens is God manifesting Himself and acting out some things or many things, then that is all the explanation is. That is what Aurobindo is telling. And this doesn't count for anything. This is just it's nothing. Cognitive bias. Okay, confirmation bias in spiritual experiences. So Aurobindo's reliance on personal spiritual experience as universal truth. Now he is telling, I had some spiritual experience and insight, but this is for the whole world, but it's the whole universe. And this cognitive bias is called confirmation bias and overlooks alternate explanations, psychological phenomenon, even cases of mental illnesses. He could be just deceived by Satan, or he could be having a mental illness or combination of both. Okay, these possibilities have to be ruled out. Okay, we do not know what happened to him in the prison in Alipur. This is not a prison, this is a colonial times prison, and he was terrorist who escaped, who failed the bombing. I don't know what they did to him in the prison. Okay, and he came out all enlightened, So I don't want to go in there, but the idea of spiritual experiences he has, and that this is what everyone, and that explains the all of reality. And that's totally delusional and megalomaniacal. That is a grandiose delusion. Next is anthropocentrism and evolutionary thought. Now evolution is the explanation for survival of the fittest, natural selection, and then we are coming to what happens to variations, or why are there variations. That's all. Okay, to say that is the explanation for everything itself is wrong. Okay, it is because the missing links, and gradual evolution has been sidelined for punctuated equilibrium. Now it's Darwinian. Now it's Darwinism 2.0. Okay, that is punctuated equilibrium, where everything is just appearing at different stages like it has been created by God. Now, evolution itself is looking like creation. Okay, that is the stage of evidence we have that the evolution which Darwin posited through gradualism does not exist. There is no evidence for that. Okay, and now anthropocentrism, or assumption that evolution culminates in human-like consciousness, reflects a cognitive bias rather than universal truth. These are his ideas, which he is bringing in, mixing the latest scientific thought with is ancient Indian philosophical puzzles, okay, riddles. So that is, these are his resolutions of the problem, or like, this is my, I am solving this mathematical problem. Why not accept this answer? Something like that. So overgeneralization of Indian philosophy, Aurobindo's synthesis of different philosophical schools of Hinduism like Vedanta, Tantra, and other schools imposes his interpretation while neglecting historical and philosophical nuances and distinctions in epistemology and metaphysics. Okay, he is just bringing all together and say, let's use it all together. Okay, is overgeneralizing, oversimplifying, and of course, subjectively, his idea is, his intuition is that these should be brought together, integrated, and that is the whole concept of integral yoga. Next, incoherence or internal contradictions. Critique the aim to divinize life, okay, through integral yoga imposes unattainable goals for most practitioners. You can do it, but you'll never know what's happening, where you're progressing, etc. No alignment between yogic efforts and observable societal or personal transformation. Okay, so there is no evidence for this. There is no. It's not verified. It cannot be quantified. No, it cannot be explained. There's no even explanatory power for this. Lack of practical methodology. Okay, this is totally a theoretical concept without practical methodology. As I said, as in serious practical methodology. Aurobindo provides vague instructions for achieving spiritual transformation, relying heavily on subjective experiences, and we know subjective experiences or cannot be included under science. It could be just symptom of some mental illnesses. It could be some demonic attack. It could be deception. Okay, so all these things have to be considered for a man who has gone through a lot, who has undergone a lot of trauma, fear, prison after a failed bomb attempt. So it's all theory and nothing practical or measurable or verifiable. Aurobindo focus on spiritual evolution, neglects pressing ethical and societal challenges, offering no actionable solutions. Conclusion, summary of critique. Number one, faulty assumptions in metaphysics like involution, supermind, etc. Logical inconsistencies in key claims like infinite, finite, evolution of consciousness or changing. Unchanging consciousness is evolving, means it's changing. That's a contradiction. Logically incoherent. Epistemological flaws like reliance on unverifiable assertions and subjective impressions and intuitions. That is epistemological flaw. Then non-correspondence to reality is nothing to do with reality. It is about what is, what will become, what happened in the past, what is going to happen in the future. All these based on the latest theories which are floating around. Okay, so non-correspondence to reality. Next, re-evaluation of realistic Advaita or integral yoga. So this should be viewed as all the schools of Indian philosophy are also myths. Not that the myths are myths, even the Indian philosophy is also myth. Mythopoetic framework. So this is philosophy is also, so Aurobindo's philosophy is also a philosophical myth called mythopoetic framework of philosophy rather than a real. Okay, these are not realistic schools of philosophy. These are anti-realistic schools of philosophy, not even anti-realistic. These are mythical. Okay, nothing to do with reality or even anti-realism because of the factual errors. They do not even rise to the level of anti-realism which has coherence. Whereas this is mythic philosophy, okay, or philosophical myths of Hinduism. Suggestions that these contributions are better understood as symbolic metaphors okay, rather than actionable, verifiable truths. You can never know the message. It cannot be known, it cannot be verified. Nobody knows who said it, okay. The sources are far away, the extant copies, there is a lot of gap. And source criticism itself will disprove these as myths. Even the philosophies, yoga philosophy is myth, Advaita is myth. Dvaita is myth, Vishishta Advaita is also myth. Okay, because they do not have factual, they are not factually adequate to rise to the level of being assessed further for truth claims. Reevaluation, as I said, so these are now we reach the conclusion that Aurobindo's philosophy is should be viewed as mythopoetic framework. Okay. So this, even though he is very creative, it's a word for he making up things and imaginative. Okay, creative solutions, bold, creative. Okay, little bit wild, based on theory of evolution, taking and I know a thing which Indians do even in the exams. Okay, just a tinge of the real theory, but they'll write whatever they want. Okay, so and this fails to meet the criteria for truth, like factual, adequately being factual, accurate, factually accurate, factual accuracy. So it lacks factual accuracy, logical rigor, empirical validity, practical coherence, and most importantly, it lacks correspondence reality. So that is the our Aurobindo. If you have been captivated by his thoughts, or you do not know, but no, surrounded by Aurobindo people telling you this and that, and no, mother and Aurobindo, and going here and there, doing meditation in the Matru Mandir, etc., etc. All that is a waste of time. Okay, these are yes myths, philosophical myths, myths which have been wrongly called philosophy. Okay, so mythopoetic framework. So thank you for joining. May God bless you. Jesus loves you.